This is Rodrigo and Nahuel. The reason I would call it PFC is because there's a word there that I'm not sure if YouTube's okay with. So, but anyways, welcome, bienvenidos.
Todo bien.
What's
Cool.
up, bro?
So let's get into it. How did you guys get started with this league?
Bro, le cuento yo y vos lo traducís.
Dale. I'm gonna translate what he says, so
Sure.
he's just gonna talk and I'm gonna translate it.
Mm-hmm.
Bien, yo tengo una página donde vendo guantes y todo tipo de artículos de artes marciales y boxeo. Y viendo otras ligas de ese estilo en YouTube, se me ocurrió armar una aquí en Uruguay. Yo no estaba muy seguro si armarla, porque era algo muy nuevo aquí en Latinoamérica. Pero justo me habló Rodrigo contándome que había armado algo parecido en Estados Unidos y me dio para adelante. Y bueno, y ahí entre los dos lo fuimos armando de a poco. Recién este año empezamos igual, en febrero.
So what happened was he actually has an online shop here in Uruguay that sells like everything combat, you know, gloves, like everything like that. And he has a lot of following on that. And he's also a big fan of fight clubs online, on YouTube, you know what I mean? And he wanted to start something like that. I worked at a gym and I actually wrote him to buy some stuff. And he looked at my page and saw that I was Rumble in the Bronx in New York. And he started asking me questions like, yo, bro, I want to do this. And we linked up and he wasn't sure if he wanted to do it or not, or if it would, like, if people would come, you know what I mean? And he hit me up. I explained to him how we did it over there. And we put our little swing on it here, and it's worked out. We've done it for almost a year now.
And did you guys know each other before, or did you guys literally link up from the shop?
No, nos conocimos ahí, hablando por
We actually we met on Instagram because like that's where the online shop is. Like he sells stuff on Instagram, and I actually didn't face to face him until our first event, where we had just 3 fights. We did film it though. It's like the first 3 fights that we have on the page. And we actually just met there. Like we didn't know anything, and we only see each other there. Like we live in different cities. We meet up in Montevideo, which is the capital, and that's where we have our events. And we only really see each other during the event. Then it's goodbye until the next one.
Cool. And I think this is a really good time to talk about your experiences with martial arts too. So I'll start with Nahuel. Nahuel, what martial arts have you trained in the past to kind of get you interested in this stuff?
Yo empecé entrenando boxeo a los 16 y después entrené MMA a los 18 hasta los 20 años.
So he trained boxing when he was 16, so he was 18, and then MMA from 18 to 21. For myself, I'm from the Bronx, so you know we fight. And no, I did the Rumble in the Bronx thing. You know what I mean? Like I helped my friend set up over there, and the first day of our first event of Rumble in the Bronx, he told me, he's like, yo, bro, people are not showing up. He was like, how much do you weigh? I told him how much I weigh. He was like, I need you to fight. So I fought and I lost, obviously, because I didn't box ever. But then since that point, I never stopped boxing.
Wow. So that's actually a perfect segue now. How do you guys find fighters, participants in your league here in Uruguay?
Y a través de la página, de la misma página donde yo vendo guantes, mucha gente me siguen, más de 3.000 personas, que la mayoría son gente que entrena artes marciales y boxeo. Y yo puse unas encuestas cuando se me ocurrió la idea, a ver quién le gustaría participar aquí. Y me votaron 300 personas que le gustarían participar. Y cantidad de gente me comentaba, es ahora, hacelo. Y bueno, lo hice.
So since he had this online shop where he sold gloves and combat stuff, he got a hold of me, and then he posted on Instagram like, yo, if I did a fight club, who would fight? And basically all the followers on his page are people that fight, because that's what they're buying at his store. And he had 300 responses of people wanting to fight. And that's how we got our that's how we get our fighters, really. And between my followers and his followers, and now our fighters' followers, you know, it's a network.
Exacto.
do you guys have a screening process since there's a lot of interest, right? A lot of fighters. Do you guys screen based on their experience or their styles, or is it kind of like whoever replies first will get to be on the show?
No, las peleas se arman por peso y experiencia. Exacto, y misma disciplina.
Right. So the fights are based on weight and experience. It's really easy here. Like here is kind of small, so it's really easy to know who knows what gym you go to. It's just a matter of, yo, who is this guy? Like somebody will tell you at the gym, or if you're an amateur fighter, like people know that here. You know what I mean? So we set up our fights word of mouth mostly, and just like, hey, you fight? Yeah. Are you good? Like, are you really good? Because I'm gonna put you against somebody that said they're really good too. You know what I mean? And that's how we do it. And as long as the styles are the same, you know, boxers with boxers, kickboxers with kickboxers. The only things we mix up are some martial arts, and with like kickboxers or like a kickboxer with an MMA guy. But it's pretty much. I mean, we haven't had any fights that are like too like, oh wow, this guy said he was an amateur and he's a fucking pro. You know what I mean? Like that hasn't really happened yet. Like everybody's pretty much good on their word.
So I think a common question that people asking will want to know is, tell me about the ring design. Who came up with it? What is the philosophy behind that?
Y en realidad yo estaba buscando muchos estilos. No me acuerdo bien de qué lo quería hacer al principio, que Rodrigo me dijo, mirá que con goma de auto quedan buenas. Y bueno, justo encontré un depósito que regalaban esas gomas y lo hicimos de goma de auto.
So he was looking at a lot of different types of like cages and designs and different things to go about. And I remember in New York, we used to just fight in a junkyard with tires. And he found a junkyard here that would just give you the tires. Like, you want 1,000 tires, take them. So we went, picked them up, and that was our ring.
I like it a lot because it's very environmental, right? You're basically recycling, putting things to use.
Yeah, this is a green fight club.
Exactly. So let's talk about the name. How did you come up with the name?
A mí me gustan mucho los perros Pitbull y ahí le puse a la página Pitbull Shop, a la primera página. Entonces Pitbull Fight Club a la liga, viniendo del mismo nombre de la página.
So his online store is called Pitbull Shop, just because of the fact that he has a pit bull and he likes dogs, and it just was like a subtext of his online shop. You know what I mean? So we just basically stuck with the same name.
That's awesome. A question I had that just popped in my mind is, what is sort of the standard training? If someone in Uruguay does train in martial arts, what do they usually start with, or what do they usually train?
Acá la mayoría de la gente empieza entrenando boxeo o kickboxing. El Muay Thai y MMA recién en estos años empezó a subir su popularidad, pero hace muchos años que se entrena kickboxing y boxeo, más que nada.
Like boxing, kickboxing mostly. And these last couple years, MMA has blown up. Obviously, I think that's like a worldwide, global event. And also Muay Thai. Like Muay Thai is actually very big here. There's like, when I say very big, that just means there's a lot of options of gyms to go to.
Está creciendo mucho en los últimos años.
Yeah, it's like it's going straight up. Like it's just progress as far as like the amount of people interested.
Más que nada porque hay un peleador que se llama Gastón Reino que peleó en Bellator y él trajo mucha popularidad de ese deporte aquí. Y además de la UFC, obviamente.
So, ¿cómo era el apellido?
Gastón Reino.
Gastón Rey, who fights in Bellator, is Uruguayan, and like I was explaining to you before we had this interview, anybody that goes outside this country to do something like really represents their country. Like Uruguayans are very patriotic, and when you go and you win somewhere else and people see you, you're like, oh shit, I'm from where he's from. Let's do that here.
And for viewers, I will put a link to Gastón Reino, right? Gastón Reino. I'll put a link to his page. Yeah.
Nice.
So besides getting interest in Uruguay, do neighboring countries want to come to your league too? Because like there's a lot of Argentinians in Uruguay too. So a lot. So are you guys one day going to do like Uruguay versus Argentina kind of like matches?
Sí. Muchos argentinos me han hablado para querer pelear, pero ahora con el tema de coronavirus no se puede viajar muy fácilmente hasta aquí. Pero muchos argentinos me han hablado.
We actually have a lot of Argentinian people that hit us up to come over here and fight, but because of the pandemic, although we border and it's literally like across the bridge in Uruguay, Argentina, it's not that easy to get across that border now, just because of the way the world is now.
I see. So what is the next event? What can we expect? And tell me about plans after this next event.
Y para el futuro, lo mejor sería mejorar más el ring y ir subiendo de a poco todo el evento de nivel. Todo.
In the future, we just like if we're at level 5, we're just gonna go up in levels with everything, like the fighters, the ring, the everything. Like just move everything up a notch. Every time.
No nos vamos a quedar así.
It's just a little bit better. Like I said, like this next event, we're gonna have entertainment as part of the event, not just fights. You know what I mean? And it's just gonna keep getting better and better. We're just looking to grow and grow. Like we started our first event with me, Nahuel, his brother, his cousin, and the fighters. Nobody else.
Rodrigo, contale la historia del cantinero que peleó el primer evento.
As a matter of fact, our first event, we just had 3 fights. So everybody gets there. One of the fighters couldn't come, or just maybe he thought it was shady or something, didn't show up. We rented out a small soccer field, like an indoor soccer field. And the guy, so we're like, fuck. So we did one fight. It was an MMA fight. It was great. And then we did another fight. It was a boxing fight. It was great. And then the other dude that came didn't have an opponent. The guy that rented us the field, that was working in the little office, he was like, oh, you guys are fighting? How much does he weigh? We were like, I don't know, let's say 170. He was like, I weigh that. What's your fight? He said, kickboxing. Me too. He got in the ring, bro, and was such a badass. Like, and like, when you see somebody sitting down behind a desk and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And they stand up and take their shirt off and you're like, what the fuck? It was like one of those moments.
Y es la pelea que él reaccionó, que se llama Sanda versus Muay Thai. Es esa misma pelea.
It's that fight, the Sanda versus Muay Thai fight.
El chico que hace Muay Thai.
Right. There's one guy that's like less tatted than the other. One guy has a tattoo on his neck. Not him. The other guy is the guy that was working at the office and just like happened to look over his shoulder and was like, oh, you guys are fighting? I'd fight. We're like, how much do you weigh? He was like, yeah, let's go right now. Literally stood up, took his shirt off, got in the ring.
Sounds like from talking to you guys that, Uruguayans are pretty hardcore people, right? A lot of you guys know how to fight. A lot of you guys train.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like in Uruguay, like anybody will fight you. We just don't have a lot of gun violence. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of that here. Like there's like poverty, like it's a third world country, you know what I mean? But like as far as like gun violence and like gangs and shit like that, I don't see. Me personally, I don't see a lot of that here. But I feel like if you talk to somebody the wrong way, you're definitely gonna get in a fight.
Sí.
Wow, that's awesome. I think this is all the questions I have. I mean, do you guys have any other topics you want to talk about while we have you guys? It's open forum now.
Nah, I mean, like if this is an open platform, I would love to welcome any and everybody that would make their way over here to fight, to compete, to contribute, to collab. You know what I mean? We'll accept all of it. Like I said, we're growing. We don't have a limit. Like we don't want to reach here. We just want to keep going. You know what I mean? Like if we could shut UFC out of business one day, we'll do that too. You know what I mean? Like we just want to keep growing.
y mejorando. Mucha gente critica el evento por cómo está ahora, pero nosotros no planeamos mantenerlo así. Planeamos mejorar todo en absoluto, pero todavía no tenemos los medios.
Like he reads comments, I don't, but like people like criticize the way we do things, or like like the way we have it set up. You know what I mean? Like maybe like even like the boxers don't have ropes to stand up against. You know what I mean? Like that's all gonna change. Like that's all gonna change. Like I don't know if we're gonna get a cage or we're gonna do something else, but we're definitely gonna do something else. You know what I mean? Like we're like I said, this is gonna be our 7th event. La séptima, ¿no? El evento.
Sí, el séptimo.
So this is our 7th event, and like I said, it's just gotten better and better. Like now we have fans that come watch the fights, which we didn't before. Like before, it was just the fighters and their friends. Now it's like the fighters with their friends and their whole dojo. You know what I mean? Like their whole boxing gym. Girls come watch guys fight. You know what I mean? Like it's becoming you know, it's we only do it once a month, and there isn't a lot of public here to begin with, so we gotta like really push for it and promote.
Sí.
And that's actually a good question too for you guys. Is like, will you guys eventually live stream potentially or something like that? Is that potentially in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. We just gotta figure it out, but definitely gonna look into doing that.
Sí, eso es una cosa que está pensada para el futuro, por ejemplo.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be this event or the next one, but it's definitely something that's been spoken about. Because honestly, we really just do it for the love of fighting. Because we don't really more than make money, we lose money. Like we rent the place out. We pay a lot of money to have these videos made. We'll hire some cool girl to come and just say she was there for her followers to follow us. You know what I mean? Like. We're really just like, it's all been like an investment more than you know, like we're not generating money on this. It's just something we love to do.
Yeah, talking about girls, the girl who's like the doctor girl, she's really cute. I noticed her.
Oh, we have different ones anyway. Yeah, we always like, we just like, we'll post up something like, hey, looking for a nurse, and nurses will write. But actually, this next event, we're gonna have girls like you know, the do like the choreographed twerk dancing and all that stuff. So we're gonna have a couple of those inside the event, and we're also gonna have a card girl. As a matter of fact, we're gonna have 2 card girls. If I'm not mistaken.
Lo que estamos buscando ahora más que nada es que se difunda bien aquí en Uruguay, que todavía no se difundió bien del todo. Nos conocen, pero solo la gente que está en el ambiente, más que nada.
Right.
Lo que queremos llegar a mucha más gente de aquí.
So right now we're really just trying to break out of like of the fight community. Like we're only known with people that fight in a gym. You know what I mean? Like in a boxing or MMA gym. Those are the only people that know us. We're trying to break out of that and just be like a, you know, like a Saturday night, like, yo, let's go watch some fights, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Not just fighters, you know what I mean? Not just fighters and their friends. We want like regular people to come. Eventually we want to make it like an event, like a party, like something you go do and like go get, like, it's just like a, I don't know, you want to go to a bar, you want to go watch this, like,
exactly.
Just something else. We just want to break out of the fight community and just break into the community itself, like, or whoever wants to come. There's no bad blood in our club. And plus, if you're there and like, you know, you're in a room full of a lot of fighters, and like, you know, if you're a fighter, you're gonna bring someone. You're gonna also bring somebody that fights. But like, it's nothing but love there. You know what I mean? Like everybody's cool. We've never had like any kind of argument outside the ring. We've never had anybody upset with their win or loss. Like,
es más, en el último evento un peleador me habló para contarme sobre la vibra que hay en el club, que cantidad de gente que ni lo conocía lo apoyó, que esas cosas no le pasan en otros eventos, le daban para adelante, y me habló para contarme mucho, la mayoría de los peleadores lo que más me dicen es que lo mejor que hay en el evento es el ambiente que se forma, que es muy deportivo.
Right, so like all the fighters, they always say like, wow, like, you know, because you're just one guy in that ring, you know what I mean? You might bring a friend or two, but like you're just one guy. And it is like, if you don't know what you're walking into, you might get a little hesitant. But everybody that at the end of the event always says the same thing, like, wow, like, it's just a good vibe here. Like, everybody's really cool. And like, we've had fighters show up without a corner, without like a, you know, like a coach. And we'll just be like, yo, anybody want to, like, you know, just be his corner? And everybody jumps up like, yeah, sure. Like, even I've done like a little pad work just to warm up some guys before the fights. You know what I mean? Because like, it's just nothing but love. We want everybody to do good. Like I always, like we said, like, we don't want unfair fights. We want good fights, like to the end. You know what I mean? Like, we want battles. We don't want a one-hitter quitter. I mean, they're cool too, but we want war. You know what I mean? Inside that ring, but outside the ring, it's just good vibes. Like, everybody's like, oh shit, man, and like they hug and they sit together. There's no we're over there and you're over here. Nah, everybody's cool, like beginning to end. There's no security. Like, it's just us. It's just a room full of fighters fighting.
That's awesome. I think part of the reason why I like you guys a lot is because Rodrigo and Nahuel, you guys vibe really well. I can tell. Like, you guys are like completing each other's sentences and stuff. So it starts at the top, right? And you guys vibe very well, which then it filters down to everyone.
Exacto, sí, sí. Es todo muy unido el grupo que tenemos. Están mis hermanos también que me ayudan desde el comienzo. Rodrigo también me ayuda desde el comienzo. La chica de la cámara tiene conocidos en común con Rodrigo. Entonces somos todos muy unidos. La gente
right.
Que hacemos.
We're just like a little family. Like, he also has his brothers that come and give us a hand. You know what I mean? Like, the girls it's a girl that does our videos. She's never done any kind of combat sport. She's like she works for a production company. Like, she's in like a drama school. I don't know exactly what she's doing, and I hit her up because I know she's done movies and I know she's filmed things at like high quality. So when I presented it to her, she was like, oh, sure, I'll definitely check it out. And even her, I remember the first day she came to the event, she was like, her eyes were like this at the end. Like, she did a great job filming, but she was like, oh my God, I've never seen anybody get punched in the face. Like, this is crazy.
Sí. Lo mismo pasaba con las enfermeras también.
And the same thing with the nurses. Like, our first MMA fight was actually like a really good MMA fight between Valentín Umpires y, ¿cómo se llama el otro?
Manuel.
And Manuel, that's on the page as well. And at one point she got really nervous and I'm inside the ring and I turn around and I see her foot next to me. And I'm like, wait, stop the fight. I'm like, something happened because like there's a nurse in the ring, you know what I mean? And she just thought that she saw something that really didn't happen. And you know, and everything got cool afterwards. But you know, like, this is like, we're doing something that's not very big here yet. You know what I mean? And especially the fact that we have different styles in one event is also something that doesn't really happen. Like you go to a boxing event, you might have a cut man and like a nurse that's used to seeing like just bruises and maybe a cut over the eye. You know what I mean? But like, we're just taking the nurse out of her regular job and being like, yo, just make sure nobody breaks nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and if we really need to stop the fight, just let us know we need to stop the fight. Like, maybe I don't see it because I'm like right there with them. I'm just looking at, technical shit. But like, and plus I'm a little, I just let it go. Like, this is a fight club, bro. Like, I just let it go. But if they tell me to stop, I stop. Absolutely. But this is like the first time for a lot of us with all of this. Like, and there's nothing else like this here in Uruguay. We're trying to beat the big.
No hay nada parecido acá ni en Latinoamérica, más que nada. Recién ahora vi un tipo de competencia parecido en Argentina, de boxeo. Pero es muy nuevo, no solo en Uruguay, sino aquí en Latinoamérica, este estilo.
Yeah, like all of Latin America. This is like really, really new to us. Like boxing's always been big here, but like the martial arts, like they're just now, it was almost like a taboo before.
Sí.
Now it's like acceptable. Like, you ever like talk to somebody like, hey, so what do you do? Like, oh, I box. And they're like, oh, now it's like, oh, you box. Like, now they understand that it goes with discipline and like respect and it's sport like any other sport. We just, it's combat.
Is Kung Fu at all popular in Uruguay?
¿Cuál? No entendí bien qué
Kung Fu. Sí, Kung Fu es popular en Uruguay.
Sí, es popular, sí. Pero no hemos tenido peleadores, pero se entrena así bastante.
Like people train, but we haven't had any like successful, maybe not successful, but like anybody that leaves Uruguay to fight and represent like, you know, a dojo or something like that. I don't think that's happened.
Cool. That's good to know, because one of the reasons I asked is that group I put you guys in, the South American group on Instagram. A lot of those guys are Kung Fu guys. So maybe some of those guys in the future, when the borders open up, they can come and represent Kung Fu.
Absolutely. Oh, I would love to see a Kung Fu fight against a kickboxer. That would be a good fight.
Igual, hablando de eso, en nuestros países vecinos es más popular estos deportes igual, incluso en Brasil más que nada. En Brasil, aquí al lado es muy popular.
Right. Yeah, we also have like, we also share a border with Brazil, like, you know, king of jiu-jitsu and other martial arts. So we're definitely not like too far from everything, but like here it's just starting. Everything's just starting. And we honestly just hope to be one of the big names at the end of it all.
That's awesome. And with this, I think this is a great stopping point. I definitely will bring you guys back. Let's do a lot of conversations in the future. And of course, we'll keep featuring you guys. But it was awesome having a conversation with you guys. Guys, PFC, Rodrigo y Nahuel. So I'll stop the recording now, and then we can talk afterwards. But thank you guys, everyone watching. Go follow
everybody,
them.
And thank you so much.
Dale, bro. Gracias a todos y suscríbanse a nuestro canal que vamos a estar subiendo más peleas.